I was 7 years old. I was in the backyard with my mom. My mom was a registered nurse, and she was tending to a injured banty hen in the backyard. And I looked at her and I said, I want to be a nurse. And from 7 years old on, I wanted to be a nurse.
For me, it happened when I was 9 years old. I was counting down the years I was gonna leave foster care because I knew, reading court reports, there are people telling you you're in long-term foster care, so you're gonna emancipate. And I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not about to be like mom. Like, mom is not the person to be. Still to this day is my goal, is to make sure that my sisters and brothers know that you have someone to look up to. You maybe don't have to do everything I did or following my footsteps, but it's another way of life than, being on drugs and having a whole bunch of kids and at 40 trying to get your life back together. No, like, you can do it now, young, and make stuff happen.
One of the major moments in my life was when I went into foster care after my mother had died. I was 11, my sister was 7, and we were lucky enough to be placed in the same home. But after a few months, she got moved to another home, and then she ended up bouncing from home to home, over the course of most of her childhood. And for me, it was at that moment, once I lost touch with her, that I knew it was up to me to make sure I did well in school, do well in my career, and make sure I was successful, so that I could get back in touch with her and, have a family of my own one day.
Once emancipated from foster care in 1976, they patted me on the back. They opened the door and I had my box of stuff. And I literally had worked over that last year that I was in high school every day, saving every penny I could, because I knew that once they opened the door, there would be no support. I could not go back home.
When I got older, it was like survival. You had to buy your own shoes, you had to pay your own cell phone bill, you had to buy your own clothes.
Many different things come through our door, and it's anything from just getting a Adopt-A-Dream wish that says, my foster child, or a social worker calling saying, my youth wants to go to camp. We had a youth last year that called and, his check didn't come in, his loan check didn't come in for school, he's away at college. And normally you would call your parents and say, my check didn't come in, can you send me some money? And, they don't have that outlet, and they do have us though. And he called and he said, I need a deposit on some in my dorm. And so we sent him that check through our Adopt-A-Dream program. So I think we're definitely that outlet that they have, that they can run to once they emancipate, and even now.
My problem is, when I was a child, and I went to a very good school for my first 8 years, I was told I would never amount to anything because I was a foster child, and that's what you were set at. Even in the house with the foster father, he told me the same thing. If I would have had somebody back there to tell me, some organization to help me, I'd have done much more than what I had done.
Having organizations like Foster a Dream that support the youth and that support the people that support the youth. So they provide assistance to mentors and recruit mentors, and they provide support to the kids and to the social workers. And an organization like that makes it easier for somebody who's on the fence about being a foster parent. It makes it easier for them to say, I can do this. I have a network of people who would support me in helping take care of these kids.
Foster a Dream helped us all, like all of us. We was volunteering here all the time, and even our foster parents got mad. But seeing how we gave back to the youth that was in the same situation we were in, it was rewarding. And I mean, we all love it. We're still connected, and we're in our 20s now. We're still here.
When I was first exploring joining the board, we were planning the Wonderland. And so I was able to attend the Wonderland in no other capacity other than to just observe. And what I saw in the couple hours that I was there, the transformation I saw in the youth's face as they came in, some of them somewhat skeptical, hadn't been there before, some of them anticipating because they had been before, but just watching the joy on the children's faces as they came through, the youth that came through, something as simple as getting their own blanket that had been made by a community volunteer. I wanted to be part of the organization.
I know if I had been in the system and Foster a Dream had been there, I think the things would have just been so much easier. The transition from that system to living a life would have been just so much better.
Foster a Dream does so much in so many ways. I think one big thing for kids in the foster system is just an overall sense of belonging. Little things to where, they don't have things other kids have in terms of shoes, backpacks, basic needs that Foster a Dream is able to provide them. And transitioning somebody that's in the foster care system to adulthood.
And we've been able to do this for the past 10 years just on community support alone. And we know that there's so much more that needs to be done. There's about 8,000 foster youth that live in the Bay Area alone, and we know that for the next 10 years we could do so much more.
A lot of the decision-making process in deciding whether or not to be a foster parent is, are there going to be enough support services for my kid? Are there going to be enough support services for me to be able to be there for my kid? And so organizations like Foster a Dream that help add that support make it easier to not only help that one kid, but they send a message that fostering kids is possible.
What I'm saying to you right now, tomorrow you will have forgotten. So the only thing you can do for me is remember this one statement, that no one knows the importance of a family better than a foster child who can't live with the family he belongs to but can never belong to the family that they live with. If you remember that statement, you will know what I feel inside and what every one of these kids feels. That's what we have to portray.